pretty much if you've gone through a class or course in the recent future over the last 20 years, you've probably played with a Canvas or Instructure product.
First guest who is working in the education sector, which has its unique set of challenges.
Learning has evolved and how people learn has evolved. So as a result of that, Instructure's mission is to continue to lean into that learning experience.
What are some of the biggest myths around AI adoption?
See a lot of headlines on this on LinkedIn and the news on AI is taking over everyone's job. All these jobs have been eliminated as a result of AI, where everyone should be scared. You should be automating yourself out of a job every year. If you're working on the same thing every year, years on end, either you're doing yourself a disservice or you're not progressing.
Really excited to welcome David to the AI and CX podcast this morning. Welcome, David. David is a senior leader of customer experience strategy and operations at Instructure. Prior to that, he was a leader at Alteryx, Oracle, and Apple. He has had a rich career in technology, service, revenue, operations, and so on. So really excited to talk with him today. I think this is our first guest who is working in the education sector, which has its unique set of challenges and multi-stakeholder management when it comes to service and operations. Welcome, David. Did I miss anything in your introduction?
No, I appreciate the introduction there. And yeah, it's been a wild ride throughout my career. So I appreciate you kind of bringing up those highlights. But I'm excited to be here, excited to talk to you, excited for our audience to get to hear this conversation and see how things go. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So let me start off, David, by, if you can give the audience a quick sense of Instructure's business right now. What are some of the key service goals and challenges which you are trying to address? And could be a good starting point for the conversation. We'll take it from there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So I think at its core, what Instructure is most known for Canvas LMS, which is what I would say they have over 50% market share across the US and in North America from an LMS perspective across K-12 and higher education. So pretty much if you've gone through a class or course, really in the recent future over the last 20 years, you've probably played with a Canvas or Instructure product. So I think that's the biggest thing, is that we're everywhere across many different institutions. And so I think that's the core and kind of flagship of Instructure. What's the evolution of that is learning has evolved and how people learn has evolved. So as a result of that, Instructure's mission is to continue to lean into that learning experience. And it isn't just happening in K-12. It isn't just happening in higher education. I think over COVID, what you saw was a massive shift in people weren't going to just traditional getting degree programs. They were doing non-traditional programs like certificates, getting data analytics certifications, computer science certifications, and just kind of micro learning. And that also happens through accredited institutions. That also happens through individual institutions that stand up and create just more education curriculum. And those are the areas that we play in. So our product set, our product strategy, our mission hasn't changed. It's just now we're meeting customers where they are based on how they're looking to learn, and our product is evolving with that. So I think for us, that's the exciting challenge, is people will never stop learning, and how we accredit along the way and enrich that experience will never go away. So for us, it's how do we meet customers where they are in that and evolve with technology as that happens?
That's really helpful, David. Thanks for that overview. So your primary service needs are more on the B2B side. I'm assuming these are other educational institutions reaching out to Instructure on a day-to-day basis, troubleshooting software, enabling customers, driving sales and growth. Is that the remit, or is that the primary goals of the service program?
Yeah, while we're working with institutions, it's very similar in the sense that it's very much like a SaaS B2B company, where we still have key users, primary stakeholders that are working through troubleshooting software,
Right.
obviously improving that experience. So I think those motions are very similar. I think the stakeholder and the challenges they face are, I would say, a little bit more unique. than maybe just a traditional like tech company. But I think that's the part where there are similarities, and then that's where we have to weave in and adapt to the sector that we live in. And there's realities about education that are different from a kind of everyday SaaS company, and I think that's what makes Instructure different in that regard.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, dude. That makes so much sense. And so, talk to us a little bit about what are some of the, to the extent you can share, key challenges or goals you are looking to address over the next 6 to 12 months in service.
Yeah, so it's on our side. So what I'm responsible for, just for context, so I'm our senior director for customer experience strategy and operations, and we're part of revenue operations team. So there's a bit of our team that is centralized. So we centralize our systems, we centralize our data, we centralize our processes. But the rest of it, we also have dedicated teams to support each of our main business units across our go-to-market, which is sales, marketing, and CX. So I sit on the CX role, and my role is being the right-hand partner to our CCO on really overseeing anything and everything customer related. So support, professional services, customer success, renewals, our community. So where our customers live and breathe, that's where my remit is aligned to our CEO. So I've been here now for a little over 6 months. And right now, what I've been focused on my entire time here is building a level of foundation of data systems, processes, and aligned to a vision. So I didn't come here with a vision or a point of view. I came here to learn, and then through that, understand and extract that from our leaders and align that to ultimately what our CEO wants to deliver and accomplish. She's here on a mission too herself, and I'm here to help her see through on that and be the operational arm to make that happen. So I think the biggest thing that we bring to the table and what we've been focused on is how do we bring objectivity and visibility into the business to our leaders so they're empowered to make decisions that are as well informed as possible, but are also, it's keeping everything else in context and not being in silos. So that doesn't just start right away. We started doing that from, I had a very accelerated onboarding. I dove deep into renewal forecasting on my second day at Instructure because I was like, just throw me off the deep end. We'll figure things out. As most senior leader onboardings are, it's like, just jump off the deep end and you'll just go from there. So for us, that's what it is. It's been laying that foundation. And then where we know we have successes and are uncovering opportunities, that we actually bring those forward and really get honest with ourselves. Are we doubling down here or are we pulling away? And that it's just every day, every week, every month, it's small and big decisions that we're continuing to make to say, we're going to lean into these bright spots. We're going to pull away from these areas where we just know we've exhausted our options, and either it's something we've done for years that we just have to stop doing, or we learned something. But the business was lacking that visibility for the longest time. And I think for right now, it's even our leaders have told us, like, we're seeing and understanding things about our business that we hadn't seen before. So they're getting time back as well because they're not having to do this or think about it or go crazy as a result of it.
Makes sense, David. Totally makes sense. So you mentioned the data systems and processes to fix, to lay the foundations off to sort of. So talk to us about that a little bit, because you are absolutely right. People ask me about AI strategy all the time, and we are partnering with leaders like yourself. And the data is perhaps the step for data and connecting all the disparate systems are perhaps some of the biggest areas. How did you think about it? What were some of the obvious opportunities? And talk to us a little bit about that. What you need in data and systems now.
So I think on our end, when I kind of took on this challenge, it was making sure I kind of came with the benefit where I came from an analytics company that is selling analytic automation software that is playing in the space. So I came in almost with the flag that we were carrying at the previous company that I came at, that all of our customers over there were facing every single day. So I had a front seat view at this when I was at Alteryx. And so coming here, I effectively just became one of our customers. To say, hey, we have these challenges. I know what we need to go do. And for us, from a data perspective, what we were focused on first was what are the things that matter. So for us as a CX organization, the things that matter the most, the things that we say move the needle for us. I wanted to get crystal clear on because
What
everything
are those? What were those for you guys?
retention.
Mhm.
So what's obviously our renewal rate, our pipeline contribution, uh,
Mm.
and then from there we have a mixed bag of services contribution from a margin perspective, bookings, support, CTAP, and then we're in the process of instrumenting a full-on NPS motion. But at the end of the day, what we were living and breathing was retention and growth. So that's where our focus became.
So just to pause you there, this is really interesting. You are talking about customer success metrics and like growth metrics here, not just service metric, which is amazing. And you are able to, just so that I understand it, like this is the service and success team's contribution to retention and pipeline growth, and you're looking to correlate that with customer retention, what quality of service or success we are providing, which leads to pipeline growth and retention. And were you able to find some underlying, correlating variables, which are like, if we do A, B, and C, this leads to higher retention or better pipeline growth? Yeah.
So it's funny you say that because that's I think we've evolved our business to be able. I call that we are earning the right to be able to answer that question. Before we were trying to understand who's even onboarding.
Yeah, yeah,
Did
yeah.
we do it? Are they?
Nobody has those classes.
Yeah. So it was very much like basic table stake stuff of just like I know what my pipeline looks like, and I
Yeah,
know where my customers are, who's
yeah,
up for renewal, and if that's happening. That's like when I say foundational, I mean that the things that are like oxygen to the business. That just it's what keeps the lights on. The things that have to happen. That was where we focus on. What we've evolved to is what you just said, and it's funny because what we're uh, we did a breakdown of our onboarding process because we were everyone keeps throwing around like, hey, we can just like have AI automate these things, and it the thing is, if we don't even know what we're automating or why we're doing it, it falls flat on its face. Like, who is it for at the end of the day? What outcome is it leading to? So the first thing I had to get aligned on our teams were aligning to an outcome. What are we trying to achieve? And
Mhm.
then how do we actually do that today, if at all? And we started with obviously process mapping exercises of, hey, from a time an order is booked, how does a customer start getting value?
Yeah,
So we went through all those steps, and I'll make a long story short that my realization through all of that back to our teams was, hey, I didn't go and express my opinions anywhere. All I did was map out what you all were telling me was happening, and then I validated that with data. We were completely focused on giving customers access to what they bought. It had
yeah,
nothing to do with this is what success looks like, this is what good looks like, this is what leads to renewability. We were effectively we're getting in our own way of just making sure the customer had what they purchased. And for us, that is below table stakes. That's like you have to do that
yeah.
very well.
With you.
So that
Yeah,
became a its own initiative of what we're working through now is like, how do we streamline just getting you the keys to what you bought? And
yeah,
then in parallel, now how do we actually focus on you got the keys faster than you've ever had them before? When you actually turn things on, you're ready to go. How are you set up to succeed? That's the point of view that we're building now because we are a services driven onboarding experience because
yeah,
most, if not all of our software does include services as a part of it. So while we do have customer success, services is at the starting point
yeah,
up. And so right now that's what we're uncovering. It's figuring out how do we give a differentiated service experience based on what you purchased, based on what you bought, where you bought it, things like that, and why. Meaning, we did this when I was at Alteryx. We focused on three things for onboarding because we found what those things were. We're like, you're a member of our community, you connected to data, and you ran a workflow. If you do this three things, it was higher than our average renewal rates
yeah,
across every tier, every segment. So we're like, how do we make this as easy as possible globally?
yeah.
That's what we're trying to work to here now is build that point of view so we can anchor it to that.
Totally makes sense. And often we get ahead of ourselves in terms of having uh, goals without fixing the foundation, as you said. Totally makes sense. What are you doing in terms of AI? Where are you, as you lay these foundations, because in some ways it is a great, we have custom AI is a great way to, get the pulse of the customer, voice of the customer going as you start this journey. I'm curious, what are some areas which you have found as early attack areas, and what does your AI roadmap look like?
So I am specifically to what I was just talking about as it relates to AI. That's what we're trying to bring forward to the table, which is, hey, we have this service consultant doing these three things on a repeated basis with this data set. Though that's a proper area for agents to operate in or workflows to operate in because it's very clear. There's very clear guidelines and you have clean data to work from. That's the visibility that we've been working to bring to allow us to actually apply AI and really help us have not just efficiencies, but automations entirely there. So right now, that's what we've been focused on. More holistically, I'm one of the things that I took on when I got here is we operate through OKRs across our company, and every major business unit across our company was in charge of forming an AI strategy and bringing that back to our executive team on what was going to be happening there.
Yeah.
And that AI strategy was internal. So this is not a external face. This is just what are you doing and how are you applying AI into how
Yeah.
you work and breathe every day. And that's what I've been responsible for mostly. And what I did is I did a catalog and inventory of all of our vendors that we use today to understand what do we have available to us. So I understand what can we use, are we already leveraging, what are we not, and then from there, are we missing something? And like for example, Gainsight. We live and breathe through Gainsight for our CS teams, but our renewals teams are broaching into that, and they're drastically improving a lot of their own AI capabilities. They have this staircase AI feature. They have this Atlas feature that we're looking to pilot with them. We have these agents that they're looking to apply as part of each of those. So for us, what we were focused on was making sure that we understood what the role of a CSM was, that was reflected properly in Gainsight. Therefore, we can actually leverage and maximize our use of AI, because if we're plugging in bad data, bad processes, you're just going to get an accelerated version of that with AI. So
Yeah.
for us, that's where we were living and breathing. Is like, let's get our foundational ducks in a row to do that. So that's where our focus has been, is making sure that we are executing and know what good looks like before AI is coming in, before we make sure we actually apply that technology lever.
Makes sense. Totally makes sense, David. And what are some of the what are some of the biggest myths around AI adoption? If you had, a group of other CX leaders in a room or on a dinner table, what were you saying, man? Look, watch out for these couple of things as you are pushing for an AI. Yeah.
Yeah, I think from a myth perspective, I see a lot of headlines on this on LinkedIn and the news on like AI is taking over everyone's job. All these jobs have been eliminated as a result of AI, where everyone should be scared. It's kind of like this fear factor of if like be aware of your job. I think for me, this kind of goes back to just how I operate my teams, but also just the culture that we live by is that's not a fear that we have. We lean into it and learn and how do we use this to not just help us, but accelerate what we do and apply it into everyday. Because if we don't have an understanding there, that is where things start to fall apart, because
Yeah.
you don't take the time to understand capabilities, what it's doing, how it works, what the technology is and what it isn't either. And understanding the difference between LLMs and agents and how all of that applies. So for us, it started at an education layer, making sure everyone just even understood like, what is this? Therefore, everyone's going to have their own opinion and how they can apply it. Just the same thing. If there's an expert that you have on your team, they're an expert for a reason. You rely on them for their guidance. For us, from an AI point of view, that's been my biggest thing, is that we haven't shied away from that fear. Like I tell my team this all the time, and one of my mentors had mentioned this to me. You should be automating yourself out of a job every year. If you're working on the same thing every year, years on end, either you're doing yourself a disservice or you're not progressing. And as a strategy and operations leader and team, I instill that in my teams every day that if you are still working on the same thing next year right now, one of us is failing. Either I'm not holding you accountable to what you need or you are not delivering. And it's okay to call that out. So it's again part of this culture, team dynamic to make sure people not just feel empowered, but also feel accountable to deliver in these areas, but also that they use everything available to them to solve business problems every day.
What are you that's such a good line, David. And automating yourself out of a job every year. Uh and the
I'll
kick,
give credit to Nate Bidding. He's the one that instilled that in me.
yeah, and that makes
I
sense.
started working with him.
And the subtext there is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not that you are making yourself redundant. It's like you are moving to more higher valued problems and things which you could be doing with your time. Related question to that: when you are hiring and coaching and improving your team, like what are the kind of personalities you're looking for? And then, and given the pace of change happening now, and how are you upskilling them or creating an environment for growth, uh, especially in the context of technology and AI these days? Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that question. I think for me, part of the balancing effort I have with hiring is that I think there's a very clear job description that obviously you're going to have for what what needs you need to meet for the business, and what I make sure is clear and what I try to uncover through our interview process. And part of the DNA of the person is that this is how you start and what is expected of you of doing every day, but this is also what you bring to the table among everything else that you're learning along the way, that you're now part of a team. So, for example, as part of building my team here at Instructure, I had a couple of folks and I started to rebuild a team now. And I had a younger career folk. His name is Ben, and he was predominantly an analytics analyst for the business at the previous company that I was at, and he was excited because he wanted to get an opportunity to kind of own and help run a business unit as a business operations manager. And we had an opportunity come up for our renewals team, and so part of what I was looking for was like, what do you bring to the table? So what do you already have that we don't have to teach you, that's your superpower? How much of that is aligned to what we expect of you? And then what is going to be available here to help you grow? What are the
Yeah.
things that I don't have to tell you, that I don't have to tell you how to do it, what to do with it, you're just going to learn as part of being here? And that for me is what stood out with Ben is he was here, he was hungry, he
Yeah.
wanted to go learn. He knew what his strengths were, but he also knew what he wanted to go learn. And that was very key for me because people say this a lot through interviews, like they're curious, they love learning. He knew specifically what he wanted to go learn. And
Yeah.
that gave me much more confidence and made me understand his level of focus for what he wanted to go learn. And I felt confident as a leader in the team that you're going to learn this here. And then not only are you just going to learn it, you're going to have to own it and then
Yeah.
tell us what good looks like over time. And I think for him, from a skill set perspective, I saw hunger, I saw focus, and then I saw a curious mind. And for me, the DNA of our teams, the strategy and operations teams, is you need to live and breathe that.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a manual of I need you to do A through Z. You have a core set of responsibilities, and then you're going to get handed problems. My goal is to make sure you know what toolkit you have available to you to go
Yeah.
solve problems.
Yeah.
And that's the DNA that I'm looking for, is that if I have to spell out everything for you, this isn't the team for you, this isn't the role for you, and I'm not the leader for you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do everything in my power to remove roadblocks, set you up for success, and make sure you know what opportunities out there for you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's hard because those are the things that you have to uncover through an interview process, and not just lean on your own perspective, but like your team. They interview these folks as well, and you have to lean on them to get their point of view of things because you might not always agree.
Makes sense, David. My last question is, if you have a crystal ball 3 to 5 years out, what part of your jobs and your team's jobs are automated, and what part is the team doing, and what does the sort of service success team 3 years out look like on a day-to-day basis? Um, you mentioned like your job is to get automate your own work every year, but then 3 years out, what are these teams doing? How is AI existing uh, or co-mingling with the human experience? Yeah.
Yeah, I great question, and I think about that all the time. And I think for us, where from how I feel of like where we're headed is, I think the most important skill that isn't going away, that is actually, in my opinion, actually we're losing some of this, is strategic thinking. Is uh, how we
Yeah.
apply
Yeah.
everything that we are getting fed and understanding and learning, and how we apply it to what we want to do. And for me, I think the evolution of an analyst, a business operations manager, a leader in my seat is we are bringing that to the table to our stakeholders and to the business, where we're getting that much closer to the business than we've ever been before, where we are strategic partners. And I think that's the evolution that I'm even working through right now with my own CCO, Rachel Orson, is that I am a strategic partner to her. It's not just, hey, where's my data? Where's this report? Where's this slide? It's like, I'm having to think about the business and you're helping me uncover that. And
Yeah.
my team is a part of that. But all I see that is continuing to compound and get closer to the business, where we're practically living in the business and making sure that we actually divide and conquer in those areas and help them uncover things that they're not seeing. So I think for us, it's strategic thinking and that critical thinking of how we apply everything that we're learning
Yeah.
into into a vision, into
Yeah.
what those top level metrics of how we're going to do that.
Makes sense, David. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Shoes. Thank you so much. This was a great conversation, and yeah, looking forward to it.